Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great beginning to your day. What a weekend. Our minds, our hearts, our prayers are all with our brothers and sisters in Ukraine who are under attack. This morning I saw the most remarkable video of the Chabad in Odessa, of the minyan they had this morning. And we know that we're in the month of Adar. Yesterday we blessed the beginning of the new second month of Adar, which begins on Friday. And they were all dancing and celebrating because we know joy breaks barriers. But we're all worried, we're all devastated by what's happening. This morning, remarkably, I was speaking to one of my friends who is originally from Ukraine. And he was on the way to Wegmans to send a MoneyGram. And I said, who are you sending money to directly? Who do you know in Ukraine? And he told me something remarkable, which I never knew. He grew up in a city called Bar. Bar is a little suburb of Berdichev in Ukraine. And his grandfather one day was in Ukraine. It was during World War II. And someone came over to him and told him, you know, you better leave. Tonight, the Nazis are going to come. Tomorrow, the Nazis are going to come and liquidate and kill all the Jews in Bar. So his grandfather went over to his neighbor, a Ukrainian Gentile, and knocked on his door and said, I need you to take me with your fisher's boat across the water to where today is Moldova, which the Romanians were in control of. And although the Romanians weren't good to the Jews, they let them starve to death in camps, they didn't actually kill them. And this man jeopardized his life. And although it could have come at a great cost, he took my friend's grandfather and he took him in his boat across to Romania, where he was saved. And we're in the concentration camp there. In the camp, he found his future wife, who he married by a rabbi in the camp. And my friend tells me, and I did not know this, that till today, he supports and helps support, the grandchildren of this Ukrainian man who saved his grandfather. And he says, I'm on the way to send a MoneyGram to this woman. I spoke to her, and she and her child and her niece are escaping. The men are not allowed to leave Ukraine because they need to fight. And they're on the road in these convoys going to try to get to Poland. And she says, literally, the Russian planes are bombing the convoys of people that are just trying to escape the war. To me, it was such a remarkable story of a man who, 75 years later, he says, Rabbi, he says, I wouldn't be alive if not for this man. And I want to help his grandchildren. You know, yesterday, I posted on my profile a Ukrainian flag. And although a lot of people thanked me, some people said, Rabbi, how could you do that? You know how much the Ukrainians, how much they hurt and killed and butchered the Jews? And I'm no stranger to that. My great-grandfather and grandmother are from Berdichev. And I know, in fact, this same guy who told me the story reminded me that the street he was born on was a street named for Bogdan Khmelnytsky, the horrendous Cossack that killed in 2 years 200,000 Jews. But what these people are missing is that this is not about what happened to us or not. It's about us as Jews who have been the minority that's been most vulnerable and who we know what war and what concentration camps and what murder could do. Now we stand with people that are under fire, that for no reason but for the fact that they're democratic and free, 40 million people, women and children, are being threatened and many killed and hurt. And it reminds me that this week's Torah portion is the portion of Pikudei. Pikudei means the details. And as I spoke to you yesterday, last week we read Vayakel, which means unity. And today we read Pikudei, which means the detail, the individual. We can never forget the right and the care we give to each individual. In fact, we read about the donations that the Jewish people gave for the tabernacle, and there was 15 different donations. But only one of them were they obliged to only give a half a coin equally everybody, no matter who they were. That was the Machatzit shekel, which we read about this past Shabbos in Shul. And you know what it was used for? It was used for the sockets, for the foundation of the temple. And the reason the rabbis tell us this, because it was to tell us that the foundations, although we don't see the foundation, it's something that's hidden, but that's what holds everything up. What holds up the fabric of morality, of society, of the Jewish people is recognizing that we are all equal. We are all created by God. We all are half and incomplete without the other. It's not about how much, it's not about who your grandfather was, as much as it's about what you do and how much you care. And that's such an important lesson I learned today from my friend. When I saw that 75 years later, after his family was saved by a righteous Gentile, who, by the way, his daughter petitioned Yad Vashem, and they were added to the righteous amongst the Gentiles. But it reminded me of the power of kindness, of giving, of caring. I've seen our community mobilized to help those vulnerable. I've seen 200 Chabad rabbis and rebbitzins and their children stay in harm's way, in danger, just to help those who are too vulnerable to leave. The rich, the wealthy, the affluent fled. But those who can't leave, the Chabad rabbis and rebbitzins stayed with them, because they remember the message of Pikudei, that every individual counts. And the moment you disregard one individual and say, yeah, they're insignificant, it's the end of civilization as we know it. Every human being is embedded with a soul from God and is valuable and is cherished. And that's why when it came to the foundations of the tabernacle, the foundations of the place that we built for God to rest His divinity, everyone gave equal amount, no matter how wealthy or poor they were, because their value, their contribution, their blessing, their part of God is the same. And that's what the world needs more than ever, to recognize that value and to bring this kindness and this love towards each other. You know, and I'll finish with one last thing. We've seen the ugliest evil rear its head. We've been reminded in the last few weeks how dangerous and how bad evil could be and how wicked people could be. But everything has its antidote, and every bad has an opposite in good. To see the generosity pouring out of the world to help vulnerable people we have never known, and even to help people that we might feel that their country has been against us and that they were people that hurt us in the past. Looking past that, because we see little children and wives and husbands in harm's way, in danger, being killed, shows us the power of love, the power of kindness that humanity has. May God bless all of us, and may we all take to heart this guy going to Wegmans, never forgetting the kindness done and sharing it with someone else. God bless you and have a great day.